So this is my first video in quite a while. I think it's been 2 months or something. And I haven't played a whole lot. I've been playing maybe 5 or 6 games a week, just trying to not lose everything I've studied. But here's a Caro Kann I wanted to show you. You know, I love my Caro Kann from Black. Alright, so we'll get started. Oops. I just gave away all my secrets. How do you do this? Okay. So we start at e4, c6. He plays knight f3, which is usually my favorite variation. And we do the exchange here. So I put the knight out here to put my first threat on that piece. He still feels nice and safe having 2 defenders on it and 1 attacker, which is fine by me. He develops a knight, which is always good. That keeps him from being able to use this pawn. In the exchange variation, I don't like when his pawn is defending on c3. It makes it a little bit more difficult for me. So here we go. My bishop move up here. And usually what I like to see is the, or I don't mind seeing at all, is the bishop defending. So I'll go ahead and trade right away and then tighten up this pawn. It only had 1 defender on it, my queen, and 2 attackers. So I got to make sure I keep what I have first before I start picking up pawns. Now here we go. This is good because it lets me play my queen to b6 right away. And his best move is not that. His best move is knight to e2. What he should have done instead, right here, was play this. But he didn't. So he defends the 1 pawn and hangs the other one. So now I have a choice between taking with my knight or taking with my queen, or playing some in-between move like pinning this knight here with my bishop on b4 or something like that. I don't like the in-between moves. I like to win the material right away. I probably ought to consider incorporating bishop to b4 into my game here and see how that works. But here's what I do. I take with the queen to try and initiate queen exchange right away, which since I'm up a pawn, I'm up material, I want to be exchanging right away. Plus it leaves me with my knight on this square, which leaves him with some tricky options. If he doesn't defend this pawn, he's going to lose a rook. If he does defend this pawn, then I can take this bishop and jack up his pawn structure, unless his bishop comes back to d1. What he decides is to move the bishop and save the pawn, but loses the rook. And I think he was just blind. Once he realized he lost a piece, or lost a pawn, he got confused, and I don't know. People make mistakes. So he loses the exchange here, and he's already lost 2 pawns now. So he's down basically a whole rook. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. So here we go. Since I'm already up material, I want to start trading down material quickly and win with my rooks. So he checks me first and then decides to defend his knight. Now I could just take the knight right away. I realized later that probably the best move would have been to bring my rook over, but decided to hop my knight in first. I can take the material whenever I want. As soon as he breaks the pin, I went ahead and just took it, and then initiate a rook trade. So here, my whole game plan at this point, basically, since I'm up so much material, is just trade down material and get to an endgame. And I know I can win an endgame when I'm up a rook or an exchange and 2 pawns. And he is making it pretty easy on me. You can see this should be a pretty easy win for Black. And that was dumb. I didn't mean to give up that pawn. I was just moving quickly for some reason. So I just make space, and this is just basic stuff. Just kind of close up the pawns on that side so I can focus on the pawns on this side. Now you'll notice I made a mistake up here, right here. He could have checked me, and my king can't cover this rook anymore. I'd have to move away right here, at which point he can gobble up my rook, and then white is doing just fine. Or I'd have to move my rook down here, and I lose my exchange, at which point white is doing okay still too. And that's the one bad move I made. I'm still up a pawn. I'd probably call this a drawn endgame. I've got a good middle, but there's no way to utilize it really. He can keep my king from closing in on these squares. I can't really penetrate with my king very well. At high level play, this might be a win for Black. At my level, it's not going to be. So let's go back to, so fortunately he didn't see that, and he threatened my rook, and I got to get it away. Now the second I put my rook there, I saw the check and realized what I had done, but luckily he didn't see it. So now it's just going to be a dance to get my get a pawn breakthrough here. So I started on far on the king side, and I figure I can keep trading now. I'll let him take my back pawns, I'll take his back pawns, and there's just pawns hanging galore. Now I've really simplified here, but I'm still up a lot of material, and this is good. I've got two good pawns here that are connected that his bishop can't touch, and the rook is a lot stronger than a bishop. So I'm going to be looking pretty good here. So I go ahead and push his bishop away and start advancing my pawns. This was a good move right here with this pawn, just to cut him off from being able to approach these pawns through the middle. This pawn's got a straight shot all the way to the end now. If you notice, by the time I move it out of the way, he can't come up here to keep it from hitting this square because my rook can take it. He can't move his pawn out of the way to get his bishop there. So I've got a free queen right here as soon as I race it down the board. So I went ahead and did that and took my queen right away. And this is rudimentary from here. Just one clever thing, I had a check right here at first, which was helpful. And then I fork his bishop and his king with my queen. And when he blocks with the bishop, I have a check with my rook on e3. And at this point, my opponent resigned. Now he challenged me to immediate rematch, and I told him that I'd play him again if I could have black again, and he obliged. And so part 4 will be our second game. So I hope you enjoyed.